I didn't get a real job until I was 35. I didn't start my first business until I was 37, almost 38. I didn't start Sun Life Organics until I was 41. I didn't write that best-selling book until I was 46. I didn't buy my first home until I was 49. And if you think that you're too old, keep in mind that I'm 52 years old and I'm just getting started.
우리는 살다 보면 나의 인생이 망가질 수도 있는 잘못된 선택을 하기도 합니다. 그리고 그 잘못된 선택들이 쌓이다 보면 악순환의 고리에 빠져 벗어날 수 없을 것 같은 어두운 지옥에 빠질 때도 있습니다. 하지만 세상은 우리가 다시 나의 인생을 바로잡기로 마음을 먹고 자신을 변화시키기로 결정한다면 꿈이라는 큰 선물을 다시 쥐어줍니다. 그만큼 세상은 냉정하지만 때론 관대하기도 합니다. 이 남성은 가난하고 열악한 가정 환경에서 자랐고 그 영향으로 20대 때 심각한 마약 중독자가 되어 20대 후반까지 길거리에서 노숙 생활을 하고 지냈으며 그 이후로 변화하기로 마음을 먹고 작은 실행을 통해 작은 변화가 시작되어 지금 50대인 그는 자신이 원하던 사업을 성공시키고 완전히 다른 인생을 살고 있습니다. 오늘은 그가 심각한 마약 중독자 삶에서 어떻게 지금의 자리까지 올 수 있었는지 그의 여정을 공유하고자 합니다.
I was born in Toledo, Ohio, a little rural town. It was a really, really tough upbringing. A lot of violence, sexual abuse, neglect, just dark. My parents were immigrants. Neither of them spoke English very well. They just were not equipped to be parents. They were not equipped to be parents. The things that happened to me as a child should never happen to any child. There was a lot of violence. There was incest, there was neglect. It was a really, really, really bad childhood. My father was very, very violent, and my mother was very codependent, and she would make excuses for him. When it came to the sexual abuse, when I recognized that it was wrong, and I went to my mother and I pulled on her arm and I said, "Mom, please make him stop." She said, "He's just tickling you," and he shooed me away. She shooed me away. Still sort of haunts me to this day to think about that. 10 years old, I was already running around with older kids in the neighborhood and trying to take puffs off their joints. Then all of a sudden, 11 years old, 12 years old, now I'm chugging beers. Man, I was looking for attention any way I could get it. Whether it was vandalism or shoplifting.
This was Khalil Rafati's home.
I'm not scared of any of this stuff. I can handle myself. But the smell, I'm now sweating, you know?
Bringing it back?
It's bringing it back, yeah.
Life as a destitute, hopeless heroin addict.
Real homelessness, where your teeth are rotting out of your head and you have a smell on your body that is so disgusting that it's unbearable. And the only thing that you can do at that point is get high.
아버지에게 학대와 성폭력까지 당했던 칼리를 도와줄 사람은 없었고 어린 나이의 현실을 감당하기에는 너무나 버겁고 고통스러웠습니다. 그렇게 그는 10살 때부터 술, 담배, 대마초에 손을 대기 시작했고 그렇게 그의 인생은 점점 어두워져만 갔습니다. 자신이 태어난 환경에서부터 자신은 피해자라는 생각에 갇혀 잘못된 선택들을 반복하게 되었고 자신의 삶은 점점 더 망가지고 있었죠. 하지만 그는 그래도 록스타가 되겠다는 꿈이 있었고 그는 자신이 살아왔던 동네를 떠나 LA로 여정을 떠나죠. 하지만 자신의 꿈과 현실의 괴리감은 커져만 갔었고 그 고통과 불안함을 피하기 위해 지속해서 술과 대마초에 의존하는 삶을 살았으며 결국에는 마약 중에서도 가장 위험한 헤로인에 손을 대면서 그의 인생은 꼬일대로 꼬여 결국에는 노숙 생활을 하게 되었습니다. 꿈과 희망이 없는 암흑 같았던 어둠 속에서 그는 어떻게 헤쳐나올 수 있었을까요?
The drugs had taken my soul from me without my consent and I went straight to hell. That people wouldn't believe exists. You're watching people get thrown out of windows, you're watching people get stabbed to death in front of you, another person is taking a shit on the sidewalk right next to you, you're getting jumped, you're getting beaten, in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail, overdose, into the hospital, out of the hospital, back into jail, back into overdose, back into the hospital. It's just a disgusting, filthy existence. That's a 33-year-old man. That was my life. And there was, where was I going to go? Who was going to hire me? What was I going to do? Coming to that realization that everything going on in my life, good and bad, was on me and not on her and not on my father and not because someone touched my naughty spot when I was a child, not because of the neglect and the violence that I witnessed. I got high because it felt great. That's what no one ever wants to talk about. I got high because it felt great. I got high because I'm selfish. I got high because my feelings is way more important than anyone else. I woke up to that realization. And in an instant, in that lowest point in my life, I snapped out of my victim mentality.
자신이 원했든 원하지 않았든 그는 어렸을 때부터 감당하기 힘든 현실을 피하고자 계속해서 탈출구를 찾았죠. 현실을 도피하면서 살았던 카알리는 결국에 자신과 같이 현실을 도피했던 마약 중독자들이 노숙하던 길바닥이었습니다. 그래도 한때는 록스타의 꿈을 꾸었던 적이 있었지만 유년 시절 겪었던 트라우마 때문에 자신은 피해자라는 생각에 갇혔었고 나는 원래 이렇게 살아야 할 운명이라며 계속해서 나쁜 선택들을 반복하게 되었죠. 그렇게 그는 30대 초반까지 희망이 보이지 않는 삶을 살게 되었습니다. 하지만 그에게도 뜻하지 않은 기회가 찾아왔죠.
In order for me to change, in order for me to start living a new life, there had to be a paradigm shift. I got a sponsor. I did exactly what the my sponsor wanted me to do. He made me do the cleanup commitments at meetings.
I was told early on in my recovery, pick up trash when you see it and throw it away. And don't look around to see if anybody saw you do it. Don't do it because you look cool doing it. Do it because that's what we're supposed to do.
Stop being a victim. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and go do for people who are less fortunate than you. I say 1% better every day no matter what. Get up every day, go for a walk, read a page of a book. Go be kind to somebody, volunteer something. 1% better every day.
Something woke up inside of me. I began to feel good about myself. And when I began to feel good about myself, better people started coming around me. And when better people started coming around me, I raised my standards. And when I raised my standards, I started behaving differently.
그의 인생이 바뀐 전환점은 작은 행동들이었습니다. 작은 행동들로 천천히 내면의 성장을 느끼기 시작했죠. 30년을 가까이 살면서 자기 자신을 사랑할 수 없는 환경이었지만 작고 큰 선한 행동들로 인해 인생 처음으로 자신을 진정 사랑할 수 있게 되었습니다. 그리고 그는 어렸을 때 록스타의 꿈을 꾸며 설레었던 가슴이 다시 뛰기 시작했고 자신의 인생을 바로잡기로 결정하고 실천하니 세상은 그에게 꿈이라는 것을 다시 선물해줬습니다. 그렇게 그는 끝이 보이지 않는 어두운 암흑 속에서 희망이 보이기 시작했죠. 그리고 그는 내가 원한다면 정말로 뭐든지 이룰 수 있다는 강한 믿음이 생기면서 인생의 전환점을 마주합니다.
Tried to the best of my ability to be the man that God intended me to be. I got better jobs. I got paid more. Doors began to open for me. I began to fill with something called self-worth, which was sort of the opposite of what I had always felt my entire life.
I said to myself, if I'm really never going to drink and do drugs again, I am going to create a life that's so amazing that I never want to go back. He made me do the coffee and cookie commitment. And don't buy those disgusting little cookies. Get them nice cookies. Get them nice coffee. And I want to bring some strawberries this time. I'm gonna grab some blueberries. And I fucking went all out. I spent like $60 or something when you're supposed to spend like $6. And when they saw that food, the look of joy, the look of, oh my God.
And I started to dream like, man, it'd be cool if I could just open up like a little healthy organic smoothie shop.
Riviera Recovery took off. I hated it. It was such a nightmare. I spent many nights crying myself to sleep, but it was super successful financially. I fantasized about having a little juice bar where everything would be organic and where everybody would be happy, and I would hire like people from the neighborhood.
그는 마약 중독 재활 치료를 받으면서 30대 인생 처음으로 직장을 갖게 되었습니다. 그의 첫 직장은 청소일이었죠. 자신의 돈을 모아서 자신의 사업을 해야겠다는 마음을 먹고 수년 동안 마약 중독 재활을 하면서 닥치는 대로 일을 하며 돈을 천천히 모아갔습니다. 그렇게 그의 첫 번째 마약 재활 사업을 시작해서 인생 처음으로 작은 성공을 경험하여 사업을 매각하면서 큰 돈이 생겼고 그리고 자신이 진정으로 원하던 건강한 유기농 스무디 가게를 열기 위해 올인하기로 결정합니다.
I borrowed a couple $100,000 from a guy who knew me really well and saw how hard I worked. I very naively signed a lease without having a lawyer look at it. And then like 11 months later, the place still wasn't open, and the landlord's threatening to, sue me if I don't pay rent. And we didn't have money for a sign. We didn't have money for shelves. And I literally thought to myself, like, what the was I thinking? I was really scared. It's the day before we're supposed to open, and these kids walk in. My partner at the time was like, oh, we're not open yet. And I'm like, actually, do you guys like frozen yogurt? They like go to pull their wallet out. I'm like, oh, no, we don't even have our POS system. The lady's like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, they have to pay you. And I'm like, no, please let me just do this. I'm opening tomorrow. You guys are kind of like my first customers. Can you please just let me do this? Because I need to feel good right now. She's like, wow. Okay. And like 10 minutes later, she walks back in and she goes, could you come outside for a moment? The kids just wanted to say something to you. And so always makes me emotional. I go to walk outside. They were a choir and they launch into these hymns of praise. And I start crying because I'm so scared it's not gonna work. All the neighbors, all the co-tenants start coming out and they're all filming it. And these kids are like belting out these songs of worship. And I just knew it was going to work. Woke up in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, went there, like trying to put everything together. Still super like nervous, but had the faith from the experience with the kids. There was a line out the door all day. And that line out the door never went away.
카할리는 희망이 보이지 않는 가정 환경에서 너무나 어린 나이에 큰 트라우마를 겪고 암흑 같은 인생을 30년을 넘게 살았습니다. 그가 자신의 트라우마에서 벗어나기 위해 그에게 가장 중요했던 것은 자신을 사랑하는 법을 배우는 것이었습니다. 내 상황이 어떻든 내 과거가 어땠든 그럼에도 불구하고 작고 큰 선한 행동들을 실천하면서 자신을 사랑할 수 있었다고 말합니다. 그렇게 사랑이 흘러 넘쳐 자신의 주변 사람들에게도 사랑을 베풀었죠. 부모님이 될 자격이 없었던 자신의 부모님에게까지 사랑으로 용서를 할 수 있었다고 말합니다. 그리고 그의 스무디 매장은 현재 미국에 13개까지 늘어났으며 최근에는 베스트셀러 작가도 되었고 자신의 어머니에게 집까지 선물해줄 수 있게 되었다고 말합니다. 현재 그의 나이는 50대 중반이지만 그는 자신의 꿈을 향해 가는 첫 계단을 밟은 것이라고 말합니다. 세상은 나이에 상관없이 자신의 인생을 바로잡기로 결정하고 변화와 배움을 추구한다면 가슴 깊숙이 간직했던 각자의 꿈을 다시 찾게 될 것이라고 생각합니다. 올해에는 여러분들이 자신의 꿈을 향해 걸어갈 수 있는 의미 있는 한 해를 보내기를 진심으로 응원합니다.
You can change. And I'm not talking about kind of sort of. I'm talking about massive, monumental change. It's possible for you. Because if a moron like me that had every card stacked against him can succeed, anybody can.